Now, 4 years ago, my next guest came fourth in the Eurovision Song Contest, which is a bit like being runner-up in the Donkey Derby. She then went to America and everything changed. Today, her records are bestsellers, her concerts are sellouts, and a film she just made with John Travolta called Grease has rocketed her into the superstar bracket. Ladies and gentlemen, Olivia Newton-John. Let me get the seating arranged properly, darling. Then we can see each other and talk to each other. You met before, in fact, haven't you?
Yes, that was in Deauville.
Yes,
Yeah.
about 2 months ago, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
You got some advice, I believe, from Miss Swanson.
Yes, I certainly did. I was pouring my morning cup of tea, and Miss Swanson happened to be passing me as I was about to put a lump of sugar in my cup, and she said, "Oh, for goodness sake, don't poison your body," and I immediately dropped the sugar, and I've been trying not to eat it ever since, I must say.
Good girl, good girl.
I was amazed to read about you, actually, because one always assumes that people, pop stars, come from a certain area in life,
Yes.
you know, that you came from an academic background. Your uncle's a professor of pharmacology in London.
Yes.
Your father, vice-chancellor of a university in Melbourne. And your grandfather won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1954.
Yes. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
What happened to you?
Yeah. No, I just wondered. I mean, it was obviously a very academic upbringing that you had.
Yes.
One wonders how you sort of lurched into pop, if lurch you did.
I certainly did. I don't know, my family seems to have either been an academic or in show business. My nephew was in a Fellini film, and my sister became an actress. She left school. She was the first black sheep in the family.
Yes.
And I followed suit. I don't really know. I think obviously there's a lot of artistic talent in the family. And my mother plays cello and my father sings. He could have been an opera singer, actually.
Yes. So it's going back to genes again,
Yes, I think so.
in the genes, yeah. Was it a black sheep situation when you decided that you wanted to go and be a singer? I mean, did the family object?
Initially,
They
yes.
did?
My mother was very concerned that if singing didn't take off, would I have a career? She said, "You'll end up working in a shop somewhere and you won't have a career. You should go to university." And I realised that I wasn't going to get through matriculation, which was the final year, because I was too interested in singing, so I opted out of school. But
How old
for
was
a
that?
year, it was 15.
15, so you were in fact a classic dropout.
Oh, yes, I am. I'm a hippie.
Yeah. And came to London, in fact, didn't you?
I
at that
did,
time?
yes.
Yeah.
Well, one of the first things I did, which really initiated my move to England, was I won a talent contest in Australia. And the prize was a trip here on a ship. And I was offered then a job on television in Melbourne for a year, which I took. But the prize was running out, and my mother said, "If we don't take the trip soon, it's going to, you know, just the ticket will be invalidated." So I left. I didn't really want to come here at all. She sort of dragged me by the hair. I thought it'd be good for me.
Yeah.
So.
You didn't actually have the easiest of rides here, did you? I mean,
No.
particularly to start with. You started off as a double act, didn't you?
Yes, I worked on my own for a little while, and then a girlfriend of mine from Australia came over. Her name is Pat Carroll. And we teamed up really for company because she was a solo artist and we didn't like being on our own. And we worked some pretty amazing places.
Did you? What, rough places?
Pretty. I think one of the roughest was Raymond's Review Bar. And we didn't realise that it was a strip club. We were just booked in there. And we used to wear these cute little dresses, you know, little flowers around the collar and little mini skirts, and we used to go out singing in the rain and things. And we noticed that the audience were full of men, and we couldn't quite figure this out. And turned around, and there was a girl swimming nude in a fish tank. And we did about 2 songs, and it was like the hook, you know, 2 songs, and I said, "All right, love, that's enough, thank you very much." And we were paid off.
Gone forever.
Yes.
I mean, did you ever despair at that time when you were in Britain that you would ever make it to the top?
No, I think it was really all good fun. I think when you're starting out and you don't know any different, I don't think it's despair. It was all exciting and new to me. I hadn't done very much then.
What was really amazing, though, in the sense that it happened so quickly, was that when you made the break and went to America, you became literally overnight, didn't you not? I mean, became a massive star there.
Pretty much. I'd been back and forth for about 2 years. I had 3 sort of top 5 records in the space of about 9 months, which was pretty amazing. I mean, I was very fortunate. And from then on, I decided I should move there. And I'm glad I did.
Well, it's really,
Yeah.
it's been extraordinary. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, you couldn't have written the chapter yourself, could you, with
No.
a better sort of...
Like a fairy story.
Yeah, absolutely. Why is it you think that the Americans took to you as readily as they did?
I really don't know. I wish I did know, because then I could tell other people how to do it too. But I think I was very lucky. I had the right records at the right time, and then I did a lot of live appearances, and it was readily acceptable. And I don't know. It's just been great.
Do you think it might be the image you have, the sort of clean cut, you know, beautiful, but sort of, what's the word? Pure, I think is the word they would use. Well, you know, I mean, this is what people always write
Yes,
about,
I
isn't
know.
it? Do you think that that kind of image in America is more acceptable to the great mass of the public than it is here? Oh.
Yeah, I think so. It's a bit... from being the English rose, I became American apple pie overnight.
Yeah, right.
And yes, I think so. I was sort of first of all introduced there as a country and western singer, and then my records became sort of pop-oriented, or they crossed over, as they call it over there.
Yeah.
Over there. And yes, I think that image was more readily acceptable.
Is it an image that you find that you feel yourself stuck with?
I think it's a nice one to have.
You do?
I think, yeah, I'm very pleased to have any kind of image that is readily acceptable.
Yes.
But I'm not at all upset with it. The press has tried to make out that I'm trying to change my image and become something else, but really it's not the case.
Yes, yes. I was just looking at you there. I think I was mesmerised by you, actually. I was wondering if you ever felt to go right contrary to your counter to your image and do something really outrageous.
Yes, in fact, I was going to do it right now.
Really? Well, I mean, don't let me stop you. I mean, no, but do you have?
I think the furthest I've gone is probably Greece, which is at the end of the movie, where I do a complete change about from what people expect, and that was really great fun for me, because for 3 months of making the film I'd been this sweet little Sandy with the full skirts and the ponytail, and the last week of shooting I changed into this vamp. I suddenly thought I'd be doing it all wrong. I had the greatest time that week.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yes. What about the press in America? Because you've now reached that kind of stardom where you can't have much privacy at all. So something that you've lived with all your life, Miss Swanson. I mean, do you find that they invent stories about you to try and break the image that you've got?
Oh, definitely.
They do?
Yes. Did you? I just had a baby by John Travolta.
Did he know about it?
He doesn't know, and I didn't know either.
Is that fair?
Yes, all kinds of things like that. I tend to try not to read them anymore unless I want to laugh.
Yeah.
Because they're so terrible.
Really?
But I may as well have done all these things because they make them up anyway.
Yes.
They're just something you have to accept, I guess. Just turn the other cheek, as they say.
Did you have trouble like that? Because
Oh, indeed I did.
you had to live with people like Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
One day I was leaving the DeMille set, and he said to me, "The key will be under the mat." And I looked at him because he wasn't inclined to do this thing, and I must have stared in a strange way. He said, "Dad, don't you know? We have children up in the mountains." I hadn't heard it.
Really?
Yes, that's what they have to do. And many times my name would be linked with somebody whom I never knew. I even looked up in the telephone book to see if I could see who it was, if there was such a person.
Really? Extraordinary.
Well,
Yeah.
these people, PR men, they have to send something in to something.
Yes.
And so they use you because you're a celebrity. And
Are you looking forward to your new career as a film star? I mean, do you enjoy them making movies now?
I loved it.
You
But
really?
I think Greece was a rather amazing experience. I don't know that I'd be as lucky next time because the whole atmosphere on the set was rather like well, it was just like it looked. We had a great time and we were all dressed up and we all thought we were 17 again.
Yes.
And I think it was just a very, very special time. And
Yes.
there was a lot of dancing and singing and it was very light-hearted. So if I could do that again, it'd be great, but I don't know if I'll be so lucky next time.
No, it's a question of getting the right part, I
Yes.
suppose, isn't it? Do you get offered nude parts in movies and sort of thing?
I don't really think so. I think up front I tell them that I don't really want to do that. I don't want to do that, so I haven't as yet.
Have you ever been asked to pose in the nude for any of these magazines?
Yes, I got offered a lot of money by Hustler magazine to do a nude centerfold. Me!
How much do they offer you?
$1 million.
$1 million?
Yes, but I think they offered a lot of ladies. I think it was a publicity stunt. They asked Linda Ronstadt and Dolly Parton and all kinds of girls. They sent a telegram or something. It was some kind of publicity thing. I thought it was quite vulgar.
Didn't happen in your day, did it, Miss Swanson?
it most certainly didn't. The first bathroom scene I did with Cecil DeMille, it was almost a scandal, and they had, you know, the Hayes department. They were afraid it was going to be taken out of the picture.
Yes.
But there was nothing. You never saw me nude or anything. You just saw me take that out of a robe and go into, you know, that
And
big
then-
bathtub.
That's right. And then in the bedroom scenes, they had to keep one foot on the floor, didn't they? Yeah.
And you weren't permitted to do any knitting for little babies' booties or anything.
Were you not?
No. such thing as pregnancy. No, we didn't discuss.
Didn't exist.
It didn't exist. They came by the stork. And the stork brought the booties with them.
The stork couldn't eat. Yeah, that's right.
Otherwise, you'd be very bored sitting on the chimney and waiting for the day.
Do you watch many modern films nowadays?
No, I can't stand them.
You can't? Why not?
Because I don't want to be sick to my tummy.
Really?
There's such vulgarity now, and I don't have it. I'm really a square. I like good manners, I like good taste, and anything can be done and suggested if it can be done. It doesn't have to have a close-up of it.
I agree.
So you do? You're very old-fashioned in that sense,
In
are
that
you?
sense,
And that's why you're so lovely
Oh, thank you
and
very much.
beautiful.
And also because she doesn't eat sugar. Huh? Let's not forget. Yeah.
I must say that I do like the old movies. I wish I could redo some of the old movies
Really?
because they were so romantic, and I'm a romantic. And I also feel the same about violence in films and nudity in films, and I think it takes away all the romance out of everything. I really do.
What about leading men nowadays? I mean, you just starred in Greece with the sort of latest sort of male sex symbol, haven't you, John Travolta? Have you ever heard of John Travolta, Miss
I've
Swanson?
heard of him, I've never seen him.
You've never seen him?
If he stood in front of me, I wouldn't know him, I'm sure. Isn't
You-
that awful to say that?
No, of course it's not.
Because I don't go often enough to pictures.
No, no. No, I just wondered if you had an opinion one way or the other about him.
No, I don't. I wish
No.
I had.
Well, I wish I hadn't asked you that question, that'd be the case. All right, then. Now, you've got... I mean, apart from the film thing, I mean, the records have been doing marvellous well for you as well, haven't they?
Yes.
And you're going to do us a little number tonight, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yes, because we've had Miss Swanson singing. What do you think about that voice? Yeah?
Oh, it was great.
Oh,
That was
I
really
wanted to be an
fun.
opera singer.
Did you really?
Yes. And while I'm still in London, I'm going to do this Look Back and Laughter because I did a musical with John Bowles called Music in the Air. And there was no dubbing of voices in those days. You know, we had to do it with a full orchestra on the set.
Really, on the
Yes,
set?
you couldn't dub it with another tape or another tape, take a note out and put a good one in. No,
was
we had a
it.
full orchestra.
You had this sort of 50-piece band playing in the wings
Yes.
while you sang. Ah, that's a lovely
And
way of making a
also,
movie.
I used to have a 4-piece orchestra just for mood music, because I love music.
Marion Davies used to do the same thing, didn't she?
In my day, now, I mean, at home in my apartment, I have music on as a background all the time.
Yes.
I think it makes you feel better. If it's a certain, I can't stand this tom-tom business.
I don't know if you're going to like my song.
Yes, what about this? Yes. Would you describe it as a tom-tom?
No, it's sort of more mood music, this song.
Mood.
Well, that's Sadie Thompson with the tom-tom business. Somerset Maugham says Sadie Thompson.
I think you'll like this, actually.
I hope you do.
Yeah.
Because I'll be very embarrassed.
All right. Well, you walk across there to your singing
excuse
area,
me,
and I will introduce what it is. All right. So it's Olivia's latest single, actually, and it's a song called "A Little More Love." Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Olivia Newton-John.
Night is dragging her feet. I wait alone in the heat. I know that you'll have your way till you have to go home. Knows a word I can't say, but it gets me nowhere to tell you no, and it gets me nowhere to make you go. Will a little more love make you stop depending? Will a little more love bring a happy ending? Will a little more love make it right? Will a little more love make it right? Where did my innocence go? How was a young girl to know? I'm trapped in the spell of your eyes, in the warmth of your arms, in the web of your lies. But but it gets me nowhere to tell you no, and it gets me nowhere to make you go. Will a little more love make you stop dependent? Will a little more love bring a happy ending? Will a little more love make it right? Will a little more love make it right? And it gets me nowhere to tell you no, and it gets me nowhere to make you go. Will a little more love make you stop dependent? Will a little more love bring a happy ending? Will a little more love make it right? Will a little more love make it right? Gets me nowhere to tell you no, and it gets me nowhere to make you go. Will a little more love make you stop dependent? Will a little more love bring a happy ending? Will a little more love make it right? Will a little more love make it right?
Talking about superstars, we had them, superstars that is, coming out of our ear rolls when we celebrated our 200th show during the last series. We had the legendary Miss Gloria Swanson, Miss Olivia Newton-John, pre-Gong, and if that wasn't enough, the greatest superstar of them all, the legendary, not to say infamous, Dame Edna Everage. I mean, you were once a housewife in a Melbourne suburb, weren't
It's
you?
like a dream, isn't it? Melbourne suburbs, well, Hollywood is a Los Angeles suburb, really, isn't it?
That's
Isn't
right.
it, when you think about it? Moonee Ponds, Melbourne, is really the Hollywood of Melbourne, except it didn't have a film industry. That's the only difference. And I was brought up there, you know, a very basically ordinary person, like yourselves. The only difference really between me and the viewers is that I'm rich and talented and they're not. That's the only difference. And I did the things that women do, and some of the things that they don't. And, you know, one day I was in a passion play. It was at Christmas time, and I was in this little passion play, you know, on the theme of Christmas in the Bible, in the olden days. And I had to be Mary Magdalene, and the ointment and things, you know, the frankincense and myrrh. And I had to then wipe it off with my hair. And, you know, every night. And I was in the little vestry, which was the dressing room attached to the church, and I was over the font because they didn't have proper wash basins or dressing tables. And I was washing. We didn't have frankincense and myrrh. We had to use Sloane's liniment, I can tell you, which was horrible, and Rexona ointment. And I was getting this out of my hair. This was before I went wisteria. This is, for those of you who haven't got colour, my hair is a delightful shade of whizzy. Anyway, and I'm wearing ocelot. Anyway, which is a little tribute to you, by the way, Miss Swanson, because there's a little hint, there's an echo of Sunset Boulevard about what I'm wearing. However, there is. Anyway, however, I was drawing, and this is something Mr. Stroheim couldn't do with his little locks, could he? I was drawing our Lord's little tootsies with my locks, and I had to wash it all out afterwards, and I was up to my neck in the font. Who should come into the dressing room, or the vestry, but Mr. Barry Humphries? He said, I want to groom you for stardom. Isn't that it?
Amazing.
That moment changed my life. It was incredible. The rest is a dream. It's like a dream for me. I still have... Yes?
How is Barry? Because we're all friends, you know.
I know. He often speaks of you, little
Does he?
Olivia. He said, oh, who knows what would have happened if, you know... Well, never mind. The thing is, he is old enough to be one of your younger uncles, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
He is little Barry Humphries, and Olivia knew each other, many, many moons ago,
Really?
when she was a little toddler and he was barely more than that. It's an incredibly small
It's a
world,
small
and
world.
haven't things
Same
gone
time.
wonderfully for this lass? Haven't they, Miss Swanson? You may not go to our recent films, and I don't either. I share your views. But the thing is that I did go and see Grease with my bridesmaid, Madge Alsop. She insisted we see this thing called Grease because she thought it was about Nivea cream. She did. She's into nostalgia. She is. She thought it was something to do with Brill cream or Nivea, which she's really heavily into because she thinks the world's Nivea resources are running out. Anyway, So we went to see it. I thought you were adorable and I loved you in the end. I'm wicked to say that, but she plays a bit of a vamp at the end and she does it just right. I adored it. I felt proud for Australia.
Yeah,
I did, as I do every time I come on the box too. You know, and I couldn't offer higher praise than that, Miss Swanson. I couldn't. Have you ever been to our wide brown continent?
No, but I have been invited, and I now certainly must go.
Oh, we'd love you there, darling. There are a lot of women just like me over there.
Relatives there?
A lot of relations. I'll give you some little introductions after the show.
Fine.
May I?
I'm going to Australia, Dame Edna.
Who? What?
Just in case you forgot I was here, but I'm going to Australia.
Yeah, we wouldn't forget him because it's his 200th birthday, isn't it,
Right,
Matt? They'll adore you in Australia. They
You think
really
so?
will. Well, I'd love you to go and see my husband Norm when you're out there.
Oh, how is he?
Oh, very far from well. I've only got one husband, but he's like 7, I can tell you that, Miss Swanson. He's got this terrible... At the moment, it's quiescent, but he's got what's called a rumbling prostate. He's always had this problem with his little, you know, the gland. Well, goodness knows where it is. Poor Gloria's looking at me askance. I'm not permissive, darling. But it's rumbling. That means that anything could happen. And so, we have been advised by one of the greatest Harley Street prostatologists. We have been advised that a transplant is in order. And we're just waiting for a donor, Mike. You might step off the plane at just the right moment, who knows? But I shouldn't say this. I mean, this is not a thing I refer to, and I know my husband is keeps a very low profile with regard to his illness. As a matter of fact, he never mentions his prostate, and when he does, he only mentions it in passing. As a matter of fact, that's the only time he ever feels it. I have to be
Of course, you wrote, of course, one of your many cultural achievements. You wrote the well-known international bestseller called...
What's the matter with you, Dad?
Living with a Prostate Problem, didn't you? Which is translated to many languages.
I think I'm one of the very... Please take no notice of this levity. Miss Swanson doesn't like the permissive side of this show. Have you no sensitivity whatever left in you?
I swear that Gloria Swanson didn't know whether it was animal, vegetable or mineral.